All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to the elect out there that's pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. All right, this lesson is going to be about um, really how Esau gets down, man. He legalizes, you know, uh, um, profane things and abominable things, but outlaws, you know, righteous things. Damn, I forgot to. Hold on one second. Let's see. There we go. But he outlaws righteous things because polygamy, all right, is a righteous thing. You know, this is something. This is what the Most High ordained in the Levitical law. The practices of Israelites to be fruitful and multiply. And they did it in the form of polygamy, all right, which is a form of polygamy in which a man has more than one wife. You know, and I just thought it was funny how, man, there's not a whole lot of countries that have it legalized, and all the tribe countries are, the 12 tribes of Israel, where they are today. They straight up outlaw it, man. But for the oxymoron of same-sex marriage, which it is utter confusion because the definition of marriage is a man and a woman, but same-sex marriage, it's totally open to that in where the tribes are, you know. Um, and that's not to say that you have Israelites in these parts of the world, but predominantly these are where the 12 tribes are today. Um, but anyways, we brothers already know the scriptures, Isaiah 4:1, but I'm gonna read into it too. This is Isaiah 4:1. In that day several women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Because hey, in coming times, the Most High doesn't, just allow this to happen. Matter of fact, let me grab Jude 1 and 7. Yeah, this is Jude 1 and 7. It says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities that were known, um, in the book of Genesis to, practice sodomy. That's where the word sodomy comes from, which is homosexual activities. And the cities about them in like manner. Cities like Pompeii. It says, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh. Strange flesh because they also practice bestiality and, things that aren't worth mentioning. I mean, just turn on the news and you'll see um, what's going on out here. Or what's that month? I think it's July. Yeah, just go to your downtown during July and see what happens. That type of activity is what Sodom and Gomorrah were known for. The rainbow flag wearers. But anyways, it says these cities are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. And that's what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah and Pompeii too. I think Pompeii was what 68 AD. Mount Vesuvius blew up and turned them into stone, man. And made them an example of, hey, that's not an act that you need to commit. But I don't really like talking about sodomy. It's just a vexing thing to talk about. But continuing on in Isaiah 4 and 2, it says, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So, hey, this is, that transition period when Israel starts, being made the standard, you know, we're the new status quo of how to live in society. And then verse 3, and then, and that with that, when the men get in order, right, they become, uh, um, the elect men of Israel, they start, following the law, statutes, and commandments. And we're set up on high. Then the women are going to follow suit, and our children too. They're not going to be rebellious, and also the earth is going to rejoice. All right, and bring forth comely fruit, man. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, shall be called holy, and even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem, written about, in the book of life, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, you know. Because if you read into Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, towards the bottom, you can read about the filth of the daughters of Zion. And the women are going to be, in their right minds. They're going to have new bodies too. The law, statutes, and commandments are going to be uh, you know programmed inside of them, along with our children. So hey, it's a beautiful thing. And shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So the 2/3 of Israel, what that's going into is the 2/3 of Israel that don't repent. They're not going to be able to see these first fruits in the kingdom. They're going to have to know it after death by pain, and have to be, uh, um, reincarnated through, the elect's lineage. Um, but yeah, and then this is Isaiah 32, and I want to start at 1 because, verse 2 is read a lot, but I want to read into it. Isaiah 32 and 1, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and prince shall rule in judgment. So, hey, we're coming into that time where, hey, the elect know how to, we're remembering who we are. We remember that we're Israelites, and we're calling on Yahweh Shem Shai, and we're practicing righteous judgments. We're learning how to be proper men. We know right from wrong, what things to eat and what things to not eat. When we're coming into our heritage of, keeping the land Sabbath, and keeping the Sabbath, the true Sabbath that, it begins on the new moon and 7 days after that, and then it resets every new moon. And we know how to rule in judgment, And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Yeah, because, hey, us men, we're learning that, hey, this is what a man is supposed to do. Protect for the family, and the brotherhood, and provide, and do it according to the law, statutes, and commandments. And the eyes of them that shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. So the elect are going to receive this, the power to be a hiding place. The eyes of them that see shall not be dim. The eyes of them, the eyes of the elect that can see. Because the Isaiah also talks about how this, how the truth, it falls on deaf ears, and seeing, but they see not. That's talking about the 2/3 that, they come across, and they might hear the truth, but they can't receive it. But the ones that do receive it, hey, their eyes are not going to be dim, and their ears, they're going to surely hearken to these judgments. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. And that's what's going on right now, man. You have the elect waking up that, might have, before they heard the truth, they might have been rash, which means displaying or proceeding from a lack of careful consideration of the possible consequences of actions. A rash person, they don't really think. They're quick to act and don't really think about the consequences. But hey, once we start learning this truth, hey, we start understanding knowledge, no longer rash. And the tongue of the stammerers, a stammerer symbolizes somebody that's just talks vainly. But now we're talking plainly, man. Hey, we plainly say, look, polygamy is really a righteous thing, contrary to, well, it's about to go into, liberal things. But verse 5, it says, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful, and vile meaning like extremely unpleasant, morally bad, shall no more be called liberal, and liberal, meaning open to new behavior or opinions and willing to discard tradition values. And that's what Israel did, man. In this American mindset, they push liberalism hard, man, which is, trying to force new ideas and behaviors onto people, you know. But, and then churl, meaning an impolite and mean-spirited person. They're not going to be bountiful anymore because right now, if for a while, um, the churl or ill-mannered person, to be a savage or really just to be wicked. The thieves rise to power and fame quicker than the person that tries to do right. But hey, the Most High has he's not just going to let it slide for too long. All those liberal ideas and vile liberal ideas, hey, they're going to be tossed out the window. Verse 6, for the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Yeah, and the needy speaketh right, man. Because it's a right thing to want more than one woman. Even though we don't advise, brothers to, go out and try to obtain as many wives as possible because now's not the time. Isaiah 4:1, that's coming. That's going to start happening whenever they realize the true value of a man. Because the true value of a man isn't taught in this society. You know, they push it in school. They push it because school is, the school system. It's how do I say it? It's set up in a way that women thrive in because women are very good at doing little tasks, you know, and following instructions. But men, we're natural problem solvers and risk takers, and that's why a lot of men they usually get C's throughout, especially once they get into middle school and you start going through puberty. That's when they start realizing that what they're being taught is bullshit, and they start looking for other activities outside of school. Um, but yeah, and also I noticed too in labs, certain lab experiments in like science lab or different trial and error things. That's when men or men in school start to thrive in because they're trial error problem solution. But women are stuck. They don't know what to do when they come to that. But for following instructions, they turn their homework in on time. Memorize answers to a test, and they're just natural, um, like computers almost. But men, they're built differently. They have a different purpose in life. They're meant to be the main provider, problem solvers, like I said, and physical labor. They're naturally stronger, hunt and whatnot, lift heavy shit. I mean, and that but when shit hits the fan, women are gonna realize that. That's why it's written in Isaiah 4:1 that 7 women are gonna take hold of one man, you know. And so it's not something that we go back and forth arguing with people like what's his nuts does. That's getting a lot of attention these days. Um, he he's a Judite that always has the NB. He's like FaceTiming or Zooming a NB. Um, I forget his name, but yeah, we're not looking to you know go back and forth like that. Hey, we know what's right, and in due time, we're it's gonna righteousness is gonna flourish. All right, but don't try to go back and forth with women or even manginas, man. Hey, look, truth isn't for everybody. You don't have to accept it, but we're gonna keep doing what works for us, you know. But anyways, back in Isaiah 32 and 8, but the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Yeah, liberal things such as feminism, which really isn't anything about femininity in women. It's about destroying the man, you know, demasculizing men. Verse 9, rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto me, unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, and the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Yeah, man. Because in the times coming, man, the women that have all these benefits, have multiple baby daddies and, reaping a paycheck, that, that's such a new and liberal idea. It's like men have had multiple wives up until, I don't know, because you can argue that it's probably about like the 1900s, but really, into the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, guys were still, having side chicks on the low, man. So and it doesn't work, man. Men that find themselves in a monogamous relationship, they always still have the tendency to, what this society says, cheat on their women. So it just doesn't work out. Men aren't supposed to be in a monogamous relationship. Um, let's see. This is Isaiah 13, and yeah, I'll start at. I'll just read 11 and then end it with verse 12. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked of their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So yeah, like I've been saying, Yahweh Shemau Shai isn't just gonna let this these perverse ideas to just run rampant. he's gonna punish the proud. All these women that are on a pedestal that want to act like queens. And queen is not a nice word. If you look it up, it means a prostitute, because that's what a queen is. All right, the queen bee, over the worker bees. You look at their life cycle, and it's not a fulfilling life. The all the worker bees, just work for one purpose, to build a home, and then to build a home for the next generation, have sex once and then die. And then same thing with the queen bee. Although she gets, tossed by all the worker bees, she dies immediately after giving birth to, the next generation. Hey man, that if you want your queen, hey, go for it. But for me and my household, we know what's right. All right. In verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Right, and when that happens, the value of a man is going to be established. People are going to realize, oh, the man is supposed to rule. All right, because when a man is in rulership, that's when progression starts happening. But yeah, I mean it's such a easy concept to get, and That's why, we, it's also a manly thing to not argue. A man knows what he stands for, and he just does it. If there's any, pushback, he stands his ground and moves on to the next one. And that's it. That's all we're gonna do. All right. So any scoffers that want to argue, let's say misogynist or patriarchy, motherfucker, patriarchy is my first name. So hey, we just continue on, on to the next one. Just endure until Isaiah 4:1 comes to pass. All right. Because hey man, Babylon is falling, and you can see it too, man. All the women are, hey, they're wanting a real man. They're realizing that, hey, feminism isn't working out. You know, they're tired of these pussy boys. They're tired of they're tired of all this LGBTQ stuff. They're tired of it, man. And the world's gonna reset, and the elect men are gonna rule. So just be patient and endure. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this video was uplifting. Shalom.